But you guys aren't here to see me. You're here to see Master Chief himself. Come on, let's get it going. Let's bring him up. This guy's a legend. Please welcome Stephen Downs. Hello, sir. It's so good. You get this nice big orange Nickelodeon couch all to yourself.
Well, in that case,
yeah, let's sprawl out and get comfortable.
Yeah, there we go.
They told me before, they were like, the couch is for the guests. You don't touch it.
It's in the contract, actually. Yeah.
So how's your day in Nashville going so far?
It's going great. I've recovered remarkably from a night in Nashville. Yeah, there we go. It was touch and go there for a while.
Where did you go?
If only I could remember. No, we had a.
Now I need to ask: are you recovering from alcohol or from hot chicken? Because it could go either way.
It could go either way. But we had Nashville is not for wimps. Let's just put it that way.
That's right. That's right. Give it up for Nashville, everybody. Not for wimps.
Not for wimps, I tell you.
Now,
although the one question I have is, I know one of the most popular foods here is hot chicken. Isn't it always hot?
There are degrees. Yeah, so you can sort of, even mild though seems to mess with some people.
Oh, so you mean, okay. I just never had cold chicken.
Oh, yeah, no, cold chicken's great. I love chicken the next day.
Yeah, but I kind of prefer it cooked.
Yeah, no, it's not raw. It's not only raw chicken.
Okay, all right.
Not a big fan of salmonella.
I'm slow, but I get it.
Now, Steve, for starters, since we're going to go to the audience in a little bit for a Q&A, the first question I want to ask you is, what's the one question that you always get asked that you are okay if no one ever asks again?
Would you say finish the fight? That's one.
What was it again?
They want me to say a line from the game, and 9 times out of 10, it's finish the fight. So I get asked that a lot.
Wow. I mean, to be fair though,
the problem is it holds up the line at the grocery store, and people start to get irritated.
It also just gave me goosebumps.
I had a guy, I was flying out of somewhere, and the guy at the TSA line, as you're putting your bags on the thing, and he's looking at me kind of funny, and you really don't want the TSA guy to be looking at you kind of funny. And I'm like, oh shit, what?
Do you wear your sunglasses in the airport? I do that.
I don't think I was this time.
But it usually gets me stopped.
Yeah, I might have been. I don't remember, but in any case, the guy's looking at me weird, and I'm like, oh boy, we're gonna have a problem. And then he says, are you in the entertainment industry? I said, yeah. And he's, are you Master Chief? Well, now the TSA line grinds to a halt, and the people behind me really don't care who this guy is in front holding up the line, but the TSA guy went. So it was all very friendly, but it was it's kind of fun. And I think he wanted me to say the line.
But you have to, forget all the people behind you. You have to do what the TSA guy wants.
It's always a good idea.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I say the line, will you not open up my suitcase? That was pretty nice.
Now, there's obviously so many people here who are excited to meet you today. But it made me think, who's somebody in your career, you've been playing Master Chief for a long time, who's somebody that you've been excited to meet or you've been starstruck by?
That's an easy one. Keith David, the voice of the Arbiter.
Yes.
Keith and I did a show in Atlanta several years ago, and so in that scenario, I was the fanboy. I was geeking out entirely. I'm next to Keith David, and a super nice guy, great talent. I've admired him long before we were doing the Halo stuff, and so that was my fanboy moment. And
I love him.
Yeah, he's great. Great actor, great voice talent, and really a nice, down-to-earth guy.
All right. Well, I think we're ready for some audience questions. You guys got some questions? Huh? You guys got to really pick up the energy in here. See, what we got? We got some fan questions ready to go yet? Oh, he's coming. We got a mic. Wow, that was... Did you see that?
Impressive.
That was impressive.
Dangerous, but impressive.
I'm a
That
dangerous
could have
man.
gone so bad.
You could have done a Joe Biden right there, you know. That could
Hey, we're going to start a line for the questions, all right? So if you guys have questions, let's start a line right here. Literally right here. Let's get close. Come on.
Come on up,
It's going to
Alex.
go like this. So let's get the line started for questions. If you're not going to
There
ask
we
a
go.
question, let's back off a little bit, all right?
Can I get a
Hey, so what kind of music do you like?
What kind of?
What kind of music do you like?
All kinds, really. I'm not a big fan of rap, and I'm not a big fan of opera, but I appreciate both of them.
No opera, huh?
No, not really. Not an opera guy.
I mean, I haven't known you for very long, but you seem so intelligent. I thought you for sure loved opera.
You went right to the opera, huh? No, I'm not. But I love music. I mean, music, rock and roll in particular, is indirectly why I'm sitting on this lovely garish orange couch. Because when I was a kid, I played guitar and drums, and I was in bands and all that. And eventually, I was doing that up through college, and at some point, had to make a decision about how serious we were going to go as far as being, where we were going to quit school and go on the road and all that. And decided that maybe being a drummer in a rock band was not the smartest career move one could make. I mean, have you seen Spinal Tap?
I've seen Spinal Tap.
You know how that goes. So anyway, I ended up getting into radio because it kept me close to the music. And then radio got me into voiceover, and the rest, as they say, is history. But so it was really music and my love of it that
It sort of put you on the trajectory that you're on now.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Awesome. Next question.
Chief.
Hello, your name?
I have a question, Mr. Jones. Did you have any one of the Halo games? Did you ever have a negative experience voicing for, or a game that you liked voicing the least?
No, and no. It's just a degree of enjoyment. I certainly never had a negative experience. I can't think of anything. The only negative experience is the time between games when we're not recording, because it is, of all the benefits of voicing a character that's been around for as long as Master Chief has been around, the greatest joy is still actually doing the work. And so I know I had no negative. I think when we did Combat Evolved, it was only the second time I'd done a voice for a video game, and it was really the learning curve on it was a bit steep, for it, as opposed to commercial voiceover, which is what I do mostly. And I think so. I maybe felt a little less secure, if you will, as opposed to by the time we got to, certainly Halo 2, and now of course it's just fun. But the most fun I ever had, my biggest enjoyment, was Halo 4 and Halo Infinite. Those are the games that I enjoyed doing the most, mainly because I had more lines, and we always like more lines.
Always love more lines.
More lines, more fun. But not more money, though.
You don't get paid per line?
No, thank God. But those were because I really loved the stories of 4 and Infinite, and it was the first time that Jen Taylor and I, the voice of Cortana, got to work together in the same room at the same time. And that was a real kick to do it that way. It's the one and only time we've ever worked together, in the studio. And so it has a special memory for me. And then Halo Infinite, because I just thought, not only did I love the story, I loved I thought as a complete game, it really hit all the buttons, and I really enjoyed it. So, but I love them all, and the Bungie games they're legendary. You can't really beat those, and so they've all been fun.
Amazing. All right. Next question.
Hey, how's it going? So, Master Chief, so iconic, the voice just as iconic. So my question to you is, finding that voice for Master Chief, was there any inspiration in your real life or in your childhood that made that voice click, and who was that for you?
When Marty O'Donnell, who was the guy who cast all the voices for all the Bungie games, and he was also wrote and directed all the music and the music of the Bungie games, as everybody knows, is just incredible. So Marty's the one that cast me to do Master Chief, and when we went into the studio, he just was telling me the story, what the Halo story, what the Halo universe was about, who Master Chief was in that world. And he, as oftentimes, you know, a director wants to give you a starting point. The starting point was Clint Eastwood. And he said, think of Clint Eastwood when Clint Eastwood made the spaghetti westerns, you know, for a few dollars more and all that, and maybe a little bit of Dirty Harry. And he said, you know, that's kind of, the Clint Eastwood movies, he didn't speak very much, but when he did, somebody usually died. So that was the Chief, right? So and it's funny you mentioned this. I just watched a thing on YouTube, actually a few days ago. Somebody had put together a montage of the cinematics and it was sort of specifically how Master Chief and Cortana related to each other. So, you know, I was seeing clips that I haven't seen in some cases 20 years. And it was interesting when I heard the voice that I did in Combat Evolved compared to the voice in Infinite. I can hear, you know, I hear much more Clint Eastwood in Combat Evolved than I do in Infinite. I think as it progressed, I started really finding my own voice, and not so much Clint Eastwood. But yeah, that's how that started.
It's amazing how Clint Eastwood is like a starting point for, I feel like, a lot of tough guy characters, right?
Yeah.
Like I think I talked to Cal Dodd about Clint Eastwood being the inspiration behind Wolverine, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. It's yeah. He sort of got it, didn't he?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Clint kind of knew what he was doing. Yeah. So that's what that was all about.
So it kind of sounds like Infinite's your favorite, but it's kind of a two-parter. I was wondering, have you gone through and played all the games? And if you have, is Infinite now like your #1 playthrough?
Now I just think you hit on the question I hate answering the most.
Oh, you're out of here. Bye-bye. See ya.
I tried to tee it up for you.
I am the worst Halo player on the planet. Whatever that skill that you guys and girls, women, men have in terms of gameplay, I was out to lunch when that gene got passed out. I just don't have it. And I have utmost of, I was at the Halo World Championships last year and watched some of the best in the world play the game, and it is amazing to watch them play. When Halo 2 came out, because I'm not a gamer. The only game I ever played was Pong, and probably most of you aren't old enough to even remember that game.
I love Pong. Give it up for Pong.
Give it up. Where's the Pong merch? Come on. You're missing an opportunity there. But when Halo 2 came out, I said, you know, I really need to put some time into this game and learn how to play it. So I got an Xbox and copied the game and came home. And the problem was I didn't have a 12-year-old with me to tell me what the hell to do. But I had no idea. I couldn't get the Chief out of the room where the game starts. You know, I'm looking around for like a little finger going this way, exit. Here, use this door, and there was nothing, you know. So after about 2 or 3 hours, I was like, gee, you know, I don't have this skill.
So if you're not a gamer, what's your favorite board game? I didn't mean to stump you right there.
Yeah, I mean, God, I mean, it sounds so pedestrian, but Monopoly.
Monopoly, it's the best. You either love or hate Monopoly. There's no in between.
There was I watched a documentary on Monopoly that was, I forget what channel it was on, not too long ago, about the history of the game, and it's a fascinating story, believe it or not. But yeah, I would say that, you know.
Did you ever get into a fist fight over Monopoly?
Never have. No,
No flipping a
I
table?
don't take it that seriously, Chris.
All right, next
You know, there's a
question.
part where it's called game.
We have different meanings of games, sir.
Yeah, well,
I
that's
don't
true.
play
Yeah,
no
yeah.
games.
They don't play no game.
So you said that from CE to Infinite, you changed up, the style of way you did voices.
Yeah.
So when you did the voices for the Chief in Infinite, how did you get into the mindset of the Chief?
Well, when you do a character for 20 years, it presents, it has an advantage and it also has a challenge. The advantage is, you know the guy, right? And there's no guessing about who the inner core of your character is. The challenge is not to take it for granted, and not to say, I got this, give me the script, Cortana, I need a weapon. You need to, I need to get into his shoes again. And, the beauty of working with 343 was that I could actually see the script ahead of time. I could actually talk to the writers and the director and, come up with a plan. And so that's, to me, the challenge is to keep it fresh, to act like, because with the video games, with Halo, especially with Halo Infinite, there was a 5-year gap between Halo Guardians and Infinite. So that's a long time to be out of character and then come back in. So my challenge was always to, live with him for a day or two and get back into his mindset and then be able to, sort of hit the ground running when it came time to record.
Awesome. Next question.
Hi. With Master Chief's voice being so iconic, when it was first coming out, like Halo Combat Evolved, do you have any funny or wonderful experiences where someone recognized your voice in public or anything like that?
Well, not being a gamer, I was totally unaware of what was happening with the success of Combat Evolved. It was doing the sessions for Combat Evolved was like, it was fun, I enjoyed it was a great time. Next, and which is the way voice actors or actors in general live. You're in a part, and then that part is done, and you're fired, and you move to the next thing. So I had no idea what a success Combat Evolved was until months and months and months. And I was down at a friend's house in Florida visiting, and his kids were playing Halo. And I had completely forgotten about it. I remember walking through the living room and the kids were just, playing the game. And it jogged my memory. And I thought, and I said, it kind of said, wondered out loud, I said, oh, I think I voiced a character in that game. Now you gotta remember, my friend is explaining to these kids when I first got there, what I did for a living. I was on the radio, I was a disc jockey, I voiced commercials that might be on national television. These kids couldn't be less impressed. Really could not care. I walked through the thing, I said, I think I voiced a character in that game. Well, and they said, who? And I said, I don't remember his name, but I think he was like the main guy in the game. And they said, Master Chief? I said, yeah, it was Master Chief. 20 minutes later, every kid in the neighborhood is outside the door with a game or the Xbox wanting me to sign it. And it blew my mind. I had no idea what was happening. And it also changed my life in a very dramatic way. So yeah, that was the beginning of a long journey.
I love that you couldn't even remember his name.
I couldn't remember his name. Really could not remember his name. I just knew he was the main guy, and they filled in the gap. So yeah.
Amazing. Do we have another question?
Yeah. Howdy, sir. I just wanted to ask, what game art you prefer?
I'm sorry, what?
What game art did you prefer out of the series? Like, which style of art out of all the different?
Oh, the armor?
Art or the armor?
Oh, the art.
Art.
A good question. I think, again, I'm going to go with Infinite because I thought they combined the best of the old and the new. I thought they which I think was part of the reason why the game was successful as it was, is that it could remind you of the Bungie games without necessarily being nostalgic. And I thought what they did with the Chief's armor, the artwork in general, you know, harken back to like Halo 3 without trying to duplicate it. And but I mean, God, the artwork is just incredible. I mean, the first time I ever went to the 343 offices, and they at the time they were in this 4 or 5 story building, and the entire building was devoted to video games and primarily Halo. All the moving parts that are involved in making a video game is mind-boggling, and these people are, game developers are just a unique breed, and do some amazing work.
It's incredible how long it takes to actually make a video game from scratch, from beginning to end. I mean, years. It's
well, and usually the voice acting is one of the last pieces of the puzzle. By the time I come in to start doing it, the game, certainly the bones of it are pretty much done. There are some gaps, and they obviously make changes and whatnot, but a lot of the heavy lifting has already been done. And then I come waltzing in and say I need a weapon, and they get to come here and see all you folks. So anyway, yeah.
We got a few. They've all been asked, so we're gonna try and get around it. What's your favorite armor? Out of every Halo, what?
I think Infinite, the armor in Infinite for the Chief is my favorite, because again it combines the elements of some of the early games with the new technology. So.
What's your favorite armor out of these guys over here?
Hey, let's see you real quick.
Come over here, guys. Let's get a better look at you.
The 405th.
Wow, give it up for these guys. This cosplay is amazing.
I wondered where my hat was. Thank you.
Look at
These
this.
guys look awesome.
Now they're blocking you, but
let's take a picture real quick, and then I'm gonna get y'all out of the way.
I'll stand up here because.
Give it up for everybody! Now, how uncomfortable is that today? Is that not? You're shaking your head no. So does that mean very uncomfortable or not at all? Not at all. Look at that guy. What a trooper! All right,
I met a guy. One of the first conventions I ever did was up in Toronto, and this was pretty early on. And there weren't many Master Chiefs, and certainly not the degree of
the cosplay. The last 5 years or so, it's gotten incredible,
exponentially.
They're so good now.
Well, so this guy, he was a Master Chief, and he had his Cortana, this lovely young lady who looked just like her, and he was a tall guy anyway, and then he had big shoes on, but he had. An outfit that was literally suffocating this poor guy, and he said he could only wear it for about 45 minutes at a time, and then either pass out or have go somewhere. And now I think the technology is much lighter, and some guys have fans built in them, and all that stuff. So it is pretty amazing. These guys do great work.
Hey, so what's the biggest difference going from Bungie to 343 for you?
They were both great experiences, but very different. Bungie was sort of, I didn't get a chance to see the script a lot of times in advance. You come in on game day, and here's your script, look at it for 5 minutes and go. Hi. And with 343, I had a chance to actually, like I said, spend some time with the directors and the writers, and get a bit more involved on the ground level of the voice part of it. And so that was, it was a lot more fulfilling. But, without Bungie, I'm not sitting here. And, that story and the lore that they created with the Halo story is unbelievable, and to this, I don't think has been fully explored even to this day. I think there's so much more that could be done with that story. So they have created something that was you know, I know that they're very proud of, and I was very proud to be a small part of it.
Awesome. Do we have another question? Our question guy's gone. He's walked over here. Yeah, you can yell it. You want to borrow mine?
I appreciate it. What video game that you voice acted in has hurt your voice the most?
Probably Combat Evolved, because it was the first time I had ever done, you know, you do one day of what I would call the death sessions, where Master Chief is dying in one way or another because you guys screwed up in the game. And so you got to invent all these ways that he dies, and it was the first time I'd ever done something like that. And also keep in mind, I was still on the radio at the time. I still had a radio show to do. And when we got done doing the screaming sessions on all the death stuff, my voice was shot. And you sort of have, you know, that was a lesson learned, that the next time that happens, you know, there are things you can do to protect your voice, and also know when you've gone far enough.
Is it the old honey and tea routine?
Honey and tea, but also my secret weapon is bourbon and cigars. Not a lot of people know that, but...
Is that how I get a manly voice like yours?
Yes, it is. But be advised, there is a price to pay.
Hello, Mr. Downs. My name's Connor. Today's my 20th birthday.
Happy birthday! Happy birthday!
Happy birthday,
Mike?
Connor.
Connor. Happy birthday, Connor.
I just want to ask if you had any general advice for someone who wants to get into video game voice acting.
Yeah, you know, it's a great field. It takes a lot of dedication. It takes a lot of practice. I think, but for voice acting in general, I always the biggest recommendation I can give you is take a class in improv acting. And you say, well, wait a minute, I don't want to be an actor, I want to be a voice. Well, you are an actor, you're just using your voice. The great thing about improv is it teaches you how to think on your feet and think quickly, because in the world of voice acting, especially commercial voiceover, you know, you have just a very little time to prepare for what they want you to do. And you better be able to have something up here to draw from to you know, develop that character. Also imitation, you know, imitate people that you like, and eventually you will find your own voice. And but yeah, those would be my recommendations.
Now, on the subject of voice acting, you know, and I can only imagine how difficult it is to do that anyway, but with a character like Master Chief, where he has no expression, he's always covered, what's some of the challenges that go with that?
Well, you know, and this really came to the fore with the later games, is, you know, you have to emit some kind of emotion, or else it's just boring. And like you say, there are no facial expressions, either animated or real, that you can rely on. Bruce Thomas, who does the motion capture for well, his first one was Halo 4, so he's on 4, 5, and Infinite. You know, he's amazing to watch what he can do with you know, just body movement, and sometimes not even a lot of that. And I got to watch him do a session with Jen Cortana when we were doing Infinite, and I just got to be a fly on the wall and watch them work. And that helped to inform me of how to do those lines when I could see what the physical manifestation of that was. But it is a challenge, you know, and plus you're dealing with a character who's not supposed to have any emotion, you know, and yet he's put in situations where, you know, it's foreign to him, and that was true especially in Halo 4. When Cortana's going through rampancy and beginning to die, you know, the Chief is all of a sudden feeling these things that he's never felt before, and he doesn't understand. So that was a big challenge for me to be able to try to convey that, you know, emotion from an emotionless person, and hopefully we got there, but it was.
I think it's safe to say you got there.
Did we get there?
We got there.
All right.
All right, next question.
Mr. John Halo, do you know what RVB is? Red versus Blue?
You know, I've never done Red versus Blue. I think it's really cool, but I've never been involved. Jen has done a little bit of Red versus Blue, Jen Taylor, but I have never done it. But I certainly know of it, and that's about all I have to say about it.
What's your favorite character in it?
My favorite character in Red versus Blue? I'm really not exposed to it enough to really say. Sorry.
It's green.
Yeah. Hey, I had a rough night in Nashville last night too.
Yes, sir.
But I was going to ask you, from your perspective as like a Master Chief representative, what do you think it's like to have an AI like Cortana talking in your head, going crazy?
She never shuts up.
Yeah. Right.
No. To me, one of the most fascinating things about the story of Master Chief is the story of the relationship with Cortana, because it's such a, when somebody asks you about how your relationship goes, and you say, well, it's complicated. It's complicated between the Chief and Cortana, but it's also that's the challenge and the fun of trying to do that. And with Jen and I, we've become actually very close friends as a result of the work that we've done. But it's, because the relationship to me is multi-layered. Is it, and it really is depending on the person and how you observe it, but is it a relationship between comrades, soldiers in arms? There's also a sibling component to it, and there's also a romantic component to it. So there's all these, and it sort of depends on where you are in the story as to what that relationship is. But at the end of the day, I always felt like it's the Chief and Cortana against the world, and that was sort of that's always been the anchor for me in that, as far as that relationship is concerned.
We might not have to wait that much longer for us all to know what it's like for AI to talk to us.
Very true. Yeah, we're all going to find out in a hurry.
What's your name, bud?
Like Barracks.
Hey, Chief.
What is your favorite weapon?
My favorite weapon. It's funny. I think my favorite weapon for Master Chief are these two things he carries around. When you get past all the other technology, at the end of the day, this gets it done. So,
the original guns.
The original guns. What's your favorite weapon?
That would be the energy sword.
Energy sword. Tough to beat the energy sword. Gotta say, good choice.
We got time for a few more questions.
Yes, Cortana.
All right, hello.
I'm sorry, wait a minute. Cortana.
Thank you. So my name's Ava, and I have a question for you. Me and my friend Riley over there, we've been having a problem recently. We've been arguing a lot about if Halo 2 or Halo 3 is better.
Well, that's of course in the eye of the beholder, but I will tell you, and I've done a lot of these things, over the last several years, and certainly those are the two most popular games. I would say what I hear mostly is Halo 3, as being sort of the tent pole that all the other games spin around. But followed by Halo 2 and also Halo Reach are extremely popular. I love it when people come up and say, it's so great to meet you. Yeah, my favorite game is Reach. And I'm like, you mean the one I'm not in? That's good.
My name is Nathaniel, and I just want to ask, what is your opinion on what 343 is doing to Halo?
What 343 is doing to Halo?
Yes.
Can you expound on that?
They have been changing a lot with Halo. They have...
Do you like what they're doing at Halo?
He just puffed out.
It's a tough one for me to answer because my involvement comes and goes with the making of a new game. So the last work I did with 343 was, what, 2 summers ago, towards the end of the, when we were finished, and then the game came out in 2021, end of 2021. And yes, a lot's happened since then, but none of it has involved me. So, I will say that a lot of the people I was close to at 343 are no longer there. And so it's hard, it's kind of a wait and see attitude, I think. But in all honesty, I'm involved when they want me to be involved. It's, what's the expression about, wait me when you need, well, they don't need me right now. But yeah, that's
Soon.
about all I can say about that.
Soon, hopefully.
Soon, hopefully, yeah.
All right, we got time for like 2 more questions.
All right, don't hate me, but I did wear my Reach shirt today.
That's all right. No problem.
So,
I actually do have a couple of lines in Reach. I do a couple of the Jeff Steitzer double kill, triple kill, kill-tacular. I do a couple of those.
Oh my gosh, this is the best day ever. Sorry. So somebody stole my other question, but if you could voice any character, like doesn't even have to be a video game, but any character in the world, who would it be?
I have been asked that before, and it's
Clint Eastwood?
Yeah, Clint Eastwood. I've been extremely fortunate to land on the character that that came to me. And it's sort of, when you've been to the mountaintop, it's hard to I don't really envy doing it. I mean, I'm very lucky. I got to do one of the most popular video game characters ever. And so I don't know that there would be another one, although it would be fun to play the Arbiter. I think that'd be something new and different. It'd be fun to do Sergeant Johnson, who I think is one of the most missed characters in the entire Halo lore. And those guys did just a tremendous job. David Scully is, I think, the voice of Sergeant Johnson, and he did just an amazing job. But I'm pretty happy doing the Chief, so I don't really relish doing another character necessarily, but one may come along. Who knows?
He's going to be the last 2.
All right.
What's your favorite Spartan generation?
Well, I'd have to go with, Series 2, because that was the Chief, right? I mean, that was, that was the second series, so tough to beat that one. How about you? What's your favorite one?
Oh, wait.
The Spartan 2.
Spartan 2?
All right.
All right, last question.
So this question is interesting. I'm intrigued to hear the answer as well. What's your name?
Andrew,
Andrew, what's this question you got for Master Chief?
what are your thoughts on the Paramount Plus Halo show?
Out of the mouths of babes. Okay. Look, I enjoyed the first season of the TV series, and I'm curious, very curious to see what they do with the next season. Jen Taylor's the voice of Cortana in the TV series, and she's been working on it, and I see her every once in a while, and not that I can relay conversations that we've had about the show, but I'm very excited to see what they're going to do next. But I will say, in fairness, it really, and they've made no bones about it when the first season came out, that this is a different take on the story of Halo. There are similarities and there are obviously drastic differences. And the way when the series first came on, I'm a big fan of science fiction. I love good science fiction. I looked at it like, this is going to be a new science fiction show, and I'm going to watch it with that, not coming at it from the familiarity I had with the story. So I just kind of sat back and watched it unfold. It's a very different story, and I know people who are, especially folks here, are very committed to the original game, and I get it, and I'm grateful for it. But it is, and also I think it's important to keep in mind, it's two different mediums. There's a video game medium and there's a movie medium, and they're different. And usually the stories, with one big exception, and you can guess which one I'm talking about, but usually video game adaptations fail because they try to redo the game in a different medium, and of course it doesn't work. The one exception is The Last of Us, which has worked beautifully, and has been able to stay true to the lore of the game and have it work in a movie or TV series capacity.
Right. It's such a cinematic game anyway, so it helps. Yeah.
And the acting is superb, and I'm not even familiar with the game. I don't play the game, but I love the
If you saw the series, you've played the game.
Yeah, well, and people who I know who do play the game tell me, those exact things. So, anyway, did I dodge that question well enough, or?
Yeah, I think so. I think you answered that quite diplomatically.
Yeah, thank you very much.
That was great. Wasn't this awesome, guys?
Thank you very much.
Now, what time are you going to be back at your table?
We're going to have a quick bite to eat, and we'll be back probably about 45 minutes.
45 minutes. You guys heard it. Go check out Steve's table and go say hi, ask him more questions, get some autographs, and thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you, Chris. And real quickly, thank you all for making the last 23 years of my life wonderful. And I so appreciate it. As we all do who work on the game. You guys are the best fans in the world, and it's an honor to meet each and every one of you. So thank you.
Steve Downs, everybody!